You are listening to The Mauer Report, a live radio show that ventures into the mysteries of life, as well as the hot topics of the day, either political or business. First and foremost, remember the views and opinions of this show are those of the host and guests and live callers tonight and do not reflect any views of any sponsors, affiliates, or anybody else. Have to say that up front. Because it's honest. It's going to be a raw show tonight. You know why I know it's going to be a raw show? Because it's time for my favorite show of the year. I mean, we've been doing this show quite a while now. But, man, here we go. Predictions for 2022. Boy, I'm excited. We've been doing, this is the 9th prediction show. 9th annual. The first Tuesday in November brings out the best in me. Or the worst in me. Depends on if you like these shows or you don't like these shows. Well, we're going to kind of frame this one tonight. I did get a prediction from Brian Bowden before I put the framework together, but we'll get to that here after a bit. Because I think it, to be fair, let's just say this. Let's just be transparent and honest. We know the world's in disarray. That's not a prediction. That's a true statement. All the politics uneasy, it's not going away. That's not a prediction. That's a true statement. Okay, so we're moving past that. So tonight we're kind of looking for deeper things. More honest things. More personal things. More other things. If that makes sense. More... Oh, I just poked myself in the eye. Oh, that was good. More... Like, I want to hear more about what Spacex is going to do. I see Germantown Runner in the chat room. I think I've seen that Russia's going to use SpaceX. Maybe help me out there, Germantown Runner. God, that hurts. That takes some smarts right there. Live radio right there for those watching on video. You get to probably gift that for me later for somebody. Oh, man. That was smooth. Having some sinus problems, so I was trying to wipe my eye and then missed it by that much. What else? Those type of things. So, man, before we begin, I got to tell you, 2022 for the Mauer Report is looking strong. I have some news that I can't break tonight. Hopefully can break pretty soon. No, it seems like I've been teasing that forever. But it's coming sooner than later. I can promise you. I know it was supposed to be here a couple weeks ago. Got delayed. That's okay. You know, it's a business and that's how things go. And I'm fine with it, actually. Sorry, need a drink, need to gather myself for a second there. Okay, so predictions for 2022. More on that personal level of live calls. So if you want to call in, you can call in 234-738-2552. Or if you're on the duck pond, you just don't want to call in. I know there's that kind of crowd. Throw them up there. Financial, that's an interesting one. Germantown Runner just kind of put up the tease for the show. And the Germantown Runner, tell me where the Dow Jones average is tonight. I'm just going to throw a number on that for next year. I was going to look and be ahead of myself on that, but I have a strong feeling. I want to know where it is right now, though, before I go too far into that. I'm interested in the Bitcoin bit. I think that's going to continue to go up. A record closing of 36,000 tonight. I might be a year late in this. I was going to say it's going to... Next year when we do this show, get the pens ready. First prediction, bold prediction. November 2022, the Dow Jones average will be... What do we want to say? 34,000? 44,000? No, it's not going to go up that far. Let's be real here. I think it's going to go down a little bit. I don't know why. I hope it doesn't. I mean, I hope the economy comes back strong. I just have this feeling that... I don't know. The shipping thing scares me a little bit. So, I'm just going to go down and click, just because. Okay, so there's that. There's your first bold prediction of the night. Germantown Runner also mentioned sports predictions, which is also... Germantown Runner loves these because they're insane at this point. Right? Because I'm predicting next season. Not this season, because this season's happening. Right? No, it's the following season. So the NFL's, 8 games in their schedule? They have all the playoffs and stuff. I'm going to sit here and try to predict the following season. Totally and completely insane. But that's what I do around here. I'm going on the record and saying I really just... I think the Rams are making a push for it. There you go. The Los Angeles Rams are just going way out in the limb, and I don't know. I just... pains me to say that as a Steeler fan, of course. I just feel that they're moving in the right direction. Trading their draft away to kind of get in position. So... there's another one. But like I said, I don't even know what Super Bowl we're on anymore. It's like Super Bowl 54 or something I'm trying to predict. Not this one, but the next one. Break out your crystal balls, guys. And girls and everybody else out there. It's one of those nights. It's one of those fun nights around here. Where, as if you've seen the social media trailer or teaser or whatever in the world that is called, where I sit here and talk to myself for a minute, I'm reminded of the first or second call-in show, live prediction show, where about this point even the phone rang for the first time, and a lady was calling me to tell me she was leaving her husband. And I asked the important question, does he know that? Because it was a prediction for the next year, and she says, well, he's listening in the other room. Let me tell you, having been doing live radio for a number of years at that point and doing it here again tonight, I'm still not sure I'm ready to hear that again. Just saying. I wonder where they are. Wonder if they did break up. I guess we'll never know. Maybe he's out there listening again tonight. Maybe we can get the Casey Kasem rest of the story. Maybe not. We'll never know. Boy. Okay, so... Paranormal predictions. Ooh, Germantown Runner. Ooh, boy. You want some paranormal predictions. I think... now, it won't be next year. It'll be the following year. So that'll be 2023, but the announcement will be made next year. So can I predict that then? Yeah, I think so. I think that falls in. That the paranormal... I'm not sure if Travel Channel will be rebranded as a paranormal channel, or that, what is that, Discovery and all of those will put together a paranormal channel. Largely to promote stuff on Discovery Plus. I think I have that all right? That's all the same company? I think it is. I think we're going to see more of that. Now, for those of you out there who are extremely frustrated by that model, get used to it. Cable companies, I believe, have finally caught up to the point of realizing they're in trouble. So what you're going to see on cable is basically infomercials for other products. And that's even going to dry that pond up, bad pond, quicker than normal. You're going to be, everything's going to be go see our exclusive content on our app. That's what it's going to be. And here's the other frustrating part. This is where it gets frustrating and here's the worst part, right? It's going to continue. It's going to spiral downhill. Because as the TV dollars dry up, the radio dollars dry up, the podcasting dollars dry up. Not in their traditional sense, but in the sense of cable's not going to... I think cable isn't going to be ordering any long-term news shows because they're going to be ordering them for their platform. Right? Some of them will still make it to air, but they're still going to be on their platform. They're going to be driving you to their plus, their whatever. This, that, and the other. and try to nickel and dime you back that way. Which might work, might not. But, okay, so where does this get fun for me? The ground rush is on for content space. If you haven't noticed, right? A million podcasts have been created in the last 18 months, or whatever it is, as people try to infiltrate that space to be able to flip those listeners into other things. That's going to dry up because it's going to be a market of the haves and the have-nots pretty quick. Hopefully. I mean, there's always going to be a slow-hanging fruit at the top end of that pool, but there's also going to be the big names coming down. And where that's going to meet is there's only so much time for people to listen, and people are going to start making those more and more exclusive content. Excuse me. So be ready. I'm telling you, there is a big push right now. Everett wants to know, will any rock musicians be introduced into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame next year? That's a good question, because I don't pay a lot of attention to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over in Cleveland. I keep saying I need to go. I have parked by it a couple of times to go to Indians games. I've had lunch at the Hard Rock there. But have not paid attention to the rock and roll classes, but I believe we're in trouble. Let's see here. I got some predictions from the solar guy. The inflation, like I really kind of missed this when he was coming in. The world's in trouble. Politics is in trouble. That's kind of the gist of some of his. I think the media, as he points out, is just going to get worse. Of course, as they struggle for viewers, they've got to keep ratcheting up the intensity on all of that. So that plays into what I'm saying. Because you got to keep 600,000 people watching your network. Or 1.2 million people watching your network. Whatever it is. 6 people listening to the show. You got to keep them listening to your show. You can't let them go somewhere else. So it's going to be collapsing in on itself, especially media. I've been saying this for a while. As the media's collapse in on each other. Like newspaper, news online, TV news. Like that's going to become one thing. It probably already has become one thing. But that market gets smaller and smaller, right? Because we don't need 800 newspapers that reprint AP Wire. So that market's going to get tighter and tighter. And that competition's going to keep going up. And I don't know where it ends. But I'm ready for it, right? I'm sitting here with my own website and doing this my own way. And really, I mean, let's be honest, right? It is what it is. I love it. So, and I get to talk to the fun people and talk to you and take predictions for next year. Man, this is wild. I can't believe we're here again already. Seems like just not that long ago that we're talking about this. I better flip open Brian Bowden's post before I forget. He sent me the audio, but I'm just going to pare him down for you. He sees some action around Planet Nubero or Planet X around the sun there, which should be interesting. He's predicting some asteroids will hit the Earth, which will create tsunamis, flattening forests around the world, which could be horrible. Prediction problems with people controlling the weather, causing issues, which could be. Foresees a major earthquake coming to the United States, over 9 points or on the Richter scale there. So that's horrible, but that's kind of what we're talking about. That kind of, I don't know. It's interesting. I say interesting a lot, and that's kind of the beef of the show, to be interesting, to be thoughtful. And the next things out of my mouth are going to be interesting, too, for some people out there. As the political stuff escalates, right? We all know it's escalating. All the other stuff below it comes up, too. And it's becoming a bubble that I don't know where it's going to go. Wow. Germantown Runner just reports Glenn Youngkin wins the Virginia GOP governorship there in Virginia. Well, that's an interesting one. Well, I'm not surprised, but I am. I don't know. I don't know how to react to that. I'm not from Virginia, so I obviously seen some stuff about the race, but I wasn't paying too much attention to the race, so okay. I don't know where he pulled that from. I would like to credit the source there, but so we've got to be aware of each other in this time. And I mean aware of each other in this time. And I'm not saying the Cook Political Report. Thanks for the source, Richard Turner. I just like to give credit where credit is due. Obviously, because if I was in the Cook Political Report people, I'd want the name thrown out there because it's good business practice to share that. But I want everybody to be aware of each other. Now, I look at the chat room tonight, and I know about a lot of the people in there. And I know a lot about the people that aren't there tonight, that I see day in and day out. And I also know people are... Well, we're going to get into this next week. So maybe that's what I'm talking about, because I've been thinking about it today, when I should have been thinking about more predictions, but about how we restart civil discourse. So we'll talk about that next week. So, just so you know. What else? What else can I throw on the record? I feel like I'm missing a whole bunch of things. What am I missing? Ask some questions or throw something up. I feel like I'm missing a whole bunch of things that I normally predict on, but I have had my mind into another place today that I shouldn't have been. I should have been more on the prediction side. Don't forget, you can call in and leave your own predictions right now at 234-738-2552. Or like I said, you could pop them on the duck pond, or well, you could leave them on social media, but I won't see them. You can leave them there. Somebody else might see them. Share them over. I'm seeing now pop cultures, and like I said, and this is another interesting one. Kind of. Oh, let's see if I can answer that. Every once in a while, I can push the right button and talk to somebody. How are you doing tonight?
Duckmaster, this is Germantown Runner, Dave.
How are you doing tonight, Dave?
Well, just great now that I'm on the prediction show.
Well, it's the best show to be on.
Yeah, the hottest, biggest show of the year.
I'm not going to argue with you on that. I mean, normally I would, but...
Certainly it's the most anticipated.
It's the only show we do around here that has a date and happens every year.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's the one that you know is going to repeat. For sure.
So help me out here. I thought I seen this, that Russia is going to use SpaceX for their next International Space Station mission?
Russia is going to send one of their cosmonauts up to the space station via a SpaceX capsule.
So is that good news for... obviously, that's a stupid question. It's good news for SpaceX.
Yeah, when you think of it this way, it's quite a turn of events for the United States in terms of our spacefaring capabilities. For how many years after the retirement of the space shuttle fleet did we, the United States, have to rely on Russia for a ticket to ride on one of their rocket boosters to the space station? The answer is 100% of the astronauts we sent up to the space station post-space shuttle were on Russian rockets. So this is quite a change of fortune in a very short period of time, and it's a testament to, I think, not only Elon Musk and what his brain trust has put together over at SpaceX, but also the willingness of the U.S. government to basically stand aside, stand out of the way, and let the private sector fill the void that was created when the government decided to get out of this space launch business in terms of human space flight to the space station. So it's quite a turn of events.
So I've got a coin flip here because I've got two questions I want to ask you about what you just said.
Okay, and I'm going to give you a space prediction that I have.
Okay, so let's talk about... Okay, so I fell down a rabbit hole last night, and I want your opinion on this. So I'm thinking about doing a show on it, and I just want to know your gut take on it. Is the moon hollow?
Is the moon hollow? I've read some articles about this because they've done some sounding experiments where they'll land a probe on the moon, an unmanned probe, a robot, if you will, on the moon. It's not a rover, so it's stationary, and they've done some sounding tests through the crust of the moon. And they've gotten mixed results. They've gotten results that indicate that the moon does have a core very similar to the Earth. It could be made of a dense metal, could be iron, and they've gotten mixed results. They've got other results with echoes that have come back that have shown a bit of hollowness. So it would make for a great topic for a show.
That's what I thought.
And if the moon is hollow, what could be in that hollow space in the moon? Strictly just space stuff, or could it be something else?
Well, according to the clip that I was watching last night, it makes it a space shuttle or a spaceship that other beings brought here so they could keep an eye on us.
Right, exactly.
I mean, if we're gonna,
I think it's fascinating, and I think it's fun.
If we're gonna go down that road, we're gonna go down that road.
Oh yeah, no. If you're gonna go down, you got to go full toboggan.
Yeah.
All the way down the hill.
So okay,
I agree.
So my next one involves a prediction.
Okay.
2022 will make Elon Musk more interesting than he already is.
Oh, that's guaranteed, and he may, depending on what happens with our economy in general. And let's hope that nothing bad happens with the economy. No one is rooting for that because everyone gets hurt. But let's take a look at Elon Musk and make him even more interesting. And the chances are he could become. Are you sitting down?
Of course I
am.
am.
The world's first trillionaire.
No, but I sent you a story.
Trillionaire.
Well, I sent you a headline. I didn't send you the story. You seem to have found it or knew about it when I sent you about $6 billion ending world hunger. He's going to donate it if somebody can prove that to him. Listen,
I think he should do it with or without it. He should answer his own challenge and pony up and cut the check.
Well, let's be honest though. This comes from this climate of, oh, he's just rich and entitled and all this other stuff, and all the comments that people make especially on social media, that if he would just give the money, he'd fix the problem, right? Well, now he's calling your bluff. Right,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that Musk is a very, very interesting guy in that he not only is a novel thinker and he puts a lot of money where his mouth is, but he also is difficult to pin down. The minute you think he's a big government statist and a big kind of, lefty government guy, he comes out with these rather free market, libertarian, almost conservative ideas. And the minute the conservatives say, oh, no, he's red-pilled, he's a white hat, all of a sudden, he's talking about extolling the United Nations or something else. So he's a really interesting moving target. And I don't know. I find him endlessly fascinating.
He is also on that. He's moving up that list of people I want to interview really fast. I mean, he's always been up near the top.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
He may be the top challenge for 2022. Like, I kind of... Because for years I've been saying Cuban, right? You know that. Mark Cuban would be up there.
Of course. I think you should still go for him.
Yeah, well, of course. But I'm just saying, I'm thinking we're getting kind of where we might have a new leader in the clubhouse, which is kind of unique.
Yeah, exactly. Just know that he's on almost every journalist shortlist to interview.
Well, I fully expect that. I have that list, right? That you just every once in a while you look up and you send. Of course. Just because, and then there's the list of people that you actually, I don't want to say need to get, but no, you need, you have that feeling that, that would be the level to shoot for. So.
Well, the space prediction I was calling up with is, and I don't have any, a lot of people know that I'm a aerospace defense journalist, so I kind of swim in this pond, but I don't have any inside information that is informing my prediction. This truly is just a wild back-of-the-envelope prediction. But I think we're going to see more and more privately financed and privately run space stations in low Earth orbit. The International Space Station, is due to decommission sometime after 2025. And that is a gigantic piece of space hardware up there. When that comes down, is it going to be an event? People are going to be hiding in their bomb shelters in case this thing lands on their house. And they're going to not be able to fully control the deorbit. So, there's going to be some wild pieces that land where they perhaps shouldn't land. But most of it will burn up safely in the atmosphere. So I predict that we already know, if anyone's following this, that China is building its own space station right now. In fact, it's inhabited already. It's getting big. It's building out. And I think very, very soon we'll see the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezoses, that's Blue Origin and Amazon, and Washington Post guy. I think that we'll soon see people of that ilk and lesser-known people, lesser-known, perhaps not even billionaires, step up to the plate and say they are going to partner, coalesce, come together, join forces to build and launch their own private space stations in orbit. Some of them for scientific reasons, some of them for profit, some of them purely humanitarian as a gift to the civilization, as a gift to the planet. But I think that we're going to see a proliferation of space stations, not necessarily as large as the International Space Station. They don't need to be, but certainly large enough by anyone's, thumbprint calculation, and certainly proliferating up there. I think it'll be very interesting. And I think the first of those announcements will be made in 2022. Again, I don't have inside information. I'm not trying to act smug here like I'm making a guess that I already know the answer to. I don't. This is just my guess, my prediction.
It's logical, though. I mean, you're not going out there and telling me we're going to be on Mars next year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is not like so far out that if it happens, it's going to be like, whoa, what a soothsayer he was. Yeah, I mean, it's within the realm of possibility, but I think it's coming. I think the first announcement will come in 22.
I'm waiting for the Airbnb up in the sky.
Oh, it'll happen. Oh, no, that will happen.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of time, no, right?
Guaranteed that will happen. I also, I'll give you a sports prediction.
If you're going to say the Capitals are going to win the Cup, I think we already figured that
out. No, I'm not. But boy, the Florida Panthers are looking good. And just 2 years ago, there was talk that Florida Panthers was going to be moving out of South Florida because who can have hockey in South Florida?
They still need to move. But go ahead.
I know they're the number one team in the league. So all I can say is wow. No, I'll predict along that line what I just touched upon with the Panthers. I'll predict that there will be one NHL franchise in 22 that may be forced, this is kind of a negative but positive prediction, that may be forced to begin searching to make a geographical move because where they are, they're just not cutting it in terms of attendance and sponsorships and things like that. That we may see an NHL franchise move to another city, not fold, but move to another city. How's that?
I believe that because, I mean, well, I'm sure you're aware the Penguins were really close to that at one point. So
The Penguins are close. The Arizona Coyotes have been close, and I would contend are close to that. So I think that could happen in 22. Not a move, but an announcement that there's a search going on at the commissioner level, owners level, to save a franchise from going under by moving it. I'll make a bold prediction. You ready?
yeah, sure.
Whatever franchise this is, and I don't know which one it would be, although I have maybe a short list, but whatever franchise it turns out, the number one city, number one city on the short list to move to would be a return to Quebec, Canada.
I was thinking that. I mean, they're
return to Quebec.
I don't see Captain Canada in the chat room, but I mean they need to.
I mean, I can't believe that the Nordiques moved to begin with. I mean, that was a beloved franchise. So I think that Quebec dearly wants a team back, and Canada, of course, this is their sport. It's their claim. They have first dibs on this sport. It is their sport. And I would say if there's going to be a franchise move, it's going to be from the U.S. to Canada, and it'll be to Quebec. How's that?
That's pretty good. So I've got one. I've got another loaded topic here for you.
Okay.
Came out today. It's about next year. The NASCAR television schedule's coming out. They're having more races on network TV than they had in the last couple of years, on both Fox and NBC. And NBCSN, their sports network, is folding at the end of the year. So the NBC races will be on USA.
Correct.
Now, I'm interested in the NBC shuttering their sports network now. When they have, I mean, content is king, live sports is king, right? And they're shuttering their sports network. They're getting ahead of the curve here. Just saying.
I think that they've looked at the results of the last two Olympic Games, which, to NBC's not credit, but to their defense, were well, not the last two. This last one that we just had, the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, and the upcoming Beijing Games, the Winter Games this February in Beijing, are going to be real money losers for NBC. The ratings are going to be down. These are the COVID Olympics. 2 in a row. Also, they're in Asia, which, from an American television viewpoint, is a bad time slot because you have to watch everything on time delay. In other words, you wake up in the morning, you can find out all the results already because they're a day ahead of us. So, the Asian games, no matter whether it's a NFL game that's played there or the World Cup or the Olympics or, you name it, in terms of driving audience and driving ratings in the United States, it's a tough proposition because you can get on the internet and find the results when you wake up. Because again, they're a day ahead. So you've seen plummeting ratings across the NBC sports franchise and all of their outlets, USA, and even some of their stretch networks like Telemundo and things where sports do appear, USA Network. You've seen those ratings decline, and I think that NBC, Comcast Universal, their parent company, NBC, I think they needed to make a financial decision about pulling the plug. They lost the NHL. They lost the NHL to ESPN and Disney and Fox. It's a three-way contract now. That's where the NHL has gone this year, currently, right now as we speak. So, they've lost content. They've lost content. And I think putting NASCAR back on the network
It's huge.
was a good move, a very smart move for them. And USA, they're trying to rebrand it now to have more sports content than just, LA Law reruns.
Yeah.
I think that's their attempt to do that. We'll see if it works. They've got another, rough Olympic cycle to get through with Beijing. It's going to be rough. There's going to be no fans in the stands again, the Chinese have announced, and the time difference is going to be a killer. So we'll have to see. At least the NHL is sending, dream teams there because they did not do that 4 years ago in the Winter Games. This year they are. the NHL will play at the Olympics, which will make hockey at the Olympics really fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why people watch the Olympic hockey, because...
Yeah, you better believe it. So it's going to be high quality. It's going to be excellent.
We want to see Sid versus Ovi for...
Ovi. Well, yeah, we always want to see that. If Sid can stay healthy.
Well, that's a big if, but...
Here, I'll make a prediction on the Olympics. You just spurred my, kind of back-of-the-envelope thinking, spur-of-the-moment prediction. I didn't pre-think this one, but since we're on the topic... I predict that the International Olympic movement is going to slow down and not pick up, and that the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, that is the group that awards the Olympics to host cities, I believe that they are going to have a problem in the near future finding hosts for games starting at 2028, 2032, and beyond. These games are expensive. They often become, 600-pound gorillas in terms of the budget around these cities' necks and these countries' necks. And I just don't see a growing appetite to host these games, both summer and winter. So I predict that the International Olympic sporting movement is going to slow down.
And I'll double down on you.
Which grieves me because I love the Olympics, both of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an Olympics guy. I grew up on them.
How about this one though? I'm gonna go a different route with you. They need to cut. They need to cut the number of sports
in both games, summer and winter.
Yes.
Yeah, they probably do. Of course, they're doing it the opposite. They've been expanding it recently.
Yeah, golf is not an Olympic sport. I'm a golfer. It's not an Olympic sport. They have tours for that.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, as fun as it is, it's the U.S. and the British and the PGA and the Masters. I mean,
but I do have to applaud, for instance, like going back to the Canadian Winter Games, the ones that were in Calgary, the Calgary Games in Alberta, where they first introduced what is it called? Snowboarding and half pipe and all that, and now that has become a mainstream sport. In fact, it garners high ratings. People want to see snowboarding. They really love it. Whereas, in those initial games, it was, kind of, it's a teenage thing. And what is this? What kind of Olympic sport is this? Now it's one of the biggest rated, highly rated.
And I'll give you that one.
Same thing in the Tokyo games that just ended. They did rock climbing. Did you see that where they were climbing rock walls and they timed it? And they had a safety harness on because a lot of these guys and girls fell off the walls, but some of them didn't. And I thought rock climbing was, I don't know, I really enjoyed it.
Well, see, but that you know what I'm saying? There isn't a professional sport for that, I guess is what I'm saying. Right,
there is not.
Because we just talked about hockey. I mean, we just like it because we get to see them in a different place than we normally see them. We get to see the dream team, so to speak. As opposed to the all-star teams, you kind of see different people playing with different people. It's cool. It's great pictures. It's great pageant. It's great stage. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I'll make a pop culture and a political prediction for you, and then I'll clear the line so that other people can come on.
Okay.
To the most popular show of the year. So here's my political prediction. Oh, these are both kind of negative ones. These are kind of downers. But
he's being down tonight, guys. He just cut the Olympics in half and whacking cable TV. No, wait, that was me that was cutting the Olympics in half. Never mind.
It's a prediction nonetheless. I predict that we will lose politically in terms of meaning somebody will die. I believe one former president and one former first lady will die in 2022.
Ooh.
And that's always a big deal when a president and a first lady dies. They may not be married to one another. It could be, mix and match here. But I predict that'll happen. And I predict there will be at least 5 major rock stars. They could be solo artists. They could be members of a band. No fewer than 5 legendary performers will go home in 2022.
Man.
We'll move on in 2022. No fewer than 5. And I'm not talking about minor band members or one-hit wonders. I'm talking major, major people that articles will be written about them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're talking like the one that hit me right. Well, not it's been a while. Glenn Fry, like that kind of level people.
Right, that level people. Glenn Fry, the drummer for the Stones, Charlie Watts, Glenn Campbell. I mean, big, major talents.
Names
that are, rock Hall of Fame people.
What Germantown Runner is trying to say is people that I'll know if I haven't looked them up.
Right, exactly. Hey, the one I miss the most is Glenn Campbell.
Oh, man.
I miss him the most.
It's funny because I've realized this the other day because I was looking for some pictures on a hard drive and there was some old music on there. And I realized I came back to him. Like, I mean, I was familiar with him in my childhood because the grandparents listened to him, right? And I came back to him because of his song Ghost on the Canvas because I was searching Ghost on iTunes back in the day. And I'm like, oh, cool. Ghost on the Canvas. I downloaded it and listened to it, fell in love with it.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, Glenn Campbell? Why does that name seem familiar? And you go back and you start digging, and you're like, oh, that, I can't, and you're like, oh, that is the same guy. Wow. Like. Yeah,
exactly. He's part of the Great American Songbook, and I mean, when you hear like rock legends and poets talk about him now, it's always in very revering terms. He's just become almost more important in death than when he was living. Although he was adored when he was living, of course. But I mean, you hear people talk about him now in. You can read reviews, you can go on YouTube and listen to people talk about him, or they all do tributes now to his music or try to play guitar like he did. He's almost gotten more respected in death, which is kind of ironic, but I mean, he deserves it because he is that good.
Well, it's the classic artist bit, right? The painting's worth more once they're dead.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And since we're coming into the holiday season, if anybody wants to listen to some excellent Christmas music, get yourself on YouTube or Spotify and search Glenn Campbell Christmas and just listen to the music. It's wonderful Christmas music. For me, it's not Christmas in my household if we're not playing Glenn Campbell Christmas.
There you be. All right, Germantown.
So there you go. There's my predictions.
I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you, and keep up the good work. And I encourage other members of the Duck Pond and those who are listening in who aren't in the pond to call in right now.
They need to because they've got 15 minutes left or so. So have your voice be heard.
Call in, everyone. All right, cheers, everyone.
And that's the legend Germantown Runner, the producer, assistant. He wears a lot of hats around here. He knows a lot of things about this show. Right? He's actually the only other person to host this show. He's never been a guest on this show officially, but he's hosted this show. One of these nights, I keep saying we're going to have to change this, and I keep pushing it off. I fail when it comes to that stuff, but he loves it, and yeah. Okay, so reset here. Predictions for 2022. Let's see if I can answer this one right. Come on. I clicked you. Don't click twice because it hangs up if you click twice. How are you doing?
I will not click twice then. Hello, Jim. How are you, my friend?
Well, it's because it goes from green when you're supposed to answer it to red then when it flips over. Well, first world problems here. How are you?
Seriously.
So what's going on? What do you got for 2022?
2022. It is certainly going to be an interesting year. Let's see, predictions. After hearing Germantown Runners there about the missing rock legends, I say this with absolute trepidation. I do not want it to ever happen, but for some reason my mind went straight to Paul McCartney. I don't know why, but that was the first name that popped into my head when he was talking about that.
Well, I mean, it's going to happen one year, right?
Yeah, eventually, but I certainly don't want to do that. I'm a huge Paul McCartney fan, love the Beatles and all that, but that was the first name. Anyway, my predictions for 2022, not good. I see that there will be some sort of financial collapse for sure. Not like a gargantuan financial collapse, but I do see at least in the very least, a housing market similar to what we saw in 2008. Talk to a few friends that are in the real estate game, and they say that the writing is all on the wall for that one. So for sure that one. Let's see, some sort of skirmish in the east. I don't know. The Taiwan tensions are rising in that area with China and Afghanistan, and so I picture some sort of military flexing at some point, or a deployment, if you will, happening in that. Positive? It's hard to say if there's going to be any positive for
Oh, come on.
for next year.
I'm listening to your voice, and I'm picturing one of your Instagram pictures on the beach, and I'm looking at my little weather bug down there. It says 35, raining off and on. 35 degrees.
Yeah, it's like 65 right now. So it's a little chilly here.
Like I'm not hearing anything you're saying right now. I'm not kidding. I am hearing, but it's just kind of what went. That's the kind of thing. Okay, so I got a question for you. Multiple questions for you.
Okay.
You're in this space, so how is the restaurant business? I mean, I know you do some of the back end stuff for that. We're not going to get too deep into that, but I'll just preference it that way. Going to change in 2022, because I foresee it's not going to be a overnight change, but I can see the model changing of how that rolls out differently as we go forward.
Yes, they're actually like you said. I don't necessarily see obviously a drastic shift in the immediate year span that we're talking about here in prediction wise, but there are a lot of trends that we are starting to see that are moving and taking hold that are that are actually good. The biggest one being ghost kitchens are kind of the new the chatter and the possible way forward, and I think those are going to be very interesting. I know they're popping up on the East Coast, and we've got a few kind of seen around here on the West Coast. So that's going to be a big one. And at least, for, the company that I'm working for, and like we've kind of pioneered it, and it sounds simple because we do it a lot now, is like the curbside model is really big. People like to just order from a distance, come in, grab your stuff, and then run. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like that's going to keep increasing. The drive-through is going to keep increasing. This isn't your brand, so I'll mention it because I can. Maybe it'll get me a free cheeseburger someday. The Sonic model where you pull in, have them bringing it out kind of deal. Maybe not on roller skates.
Not quite on roller skates, but I think like in the area, especially like utilizing things like geofencing and stuff, are becoming more buzz, if you will, within the industry. That's so the overarch the company I work for, and then our giant parent company has had a lot of that talk and meetings and stuff like that, to where the Sonic method, I guess, if you will, is the kind of that model.
I think that's the easiest one for everyone to picture. I'm sure other places do it, but
right.
Of course, I'm just saying those two. I almost said a bad word there. People in the car drinking the slushies, and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Apparently, this is why the show's only an hour, because I'm so distractible right now. Somebody could give me a tinfoil ball now, and the show would just probably end. So what else is going? What else is on your mind? I gotta know. There's got to be something else. You're a busy guy.
It's been kind of a whirlwind for. There's a lot shaking, I guess if we're keeping with the prediction thing. Well, of course, I'm being distracted right now. I'm actually watching, talking about viewership at all-time lows for a lot of sporting events. That's definitely a big one. I'm standing here watching the World Series as we speak, and I think Atlanta might be taking it home. So
that'd be interesting.
There's that.
I've got for this one on the record, because it does pertain to next year. Somehow, the Indians, what's their new Guardians, they're gonna have to come up with another new one.
Oh.
They've botched the Guardians thing because they didn't buy the domain before they took that public. Now they're suing each other and this whole mess. I think it's gonna come to the point where they're not gonna have it, so they're just gonna walk away. Or try to keep going, but they're going to have to come up with something, kind of the Washington football team deal.
That's. I was gonna say, are they gonna run into like a Washington scenario where they're just the Cleveland baseball team at that point?
The Cleveland Baseball Company. Somebody go out and buy that domain right now.
Or we could maybe do like some of the European circuit, like the Cleveland Baseball Club,
Yeah.
like a football club. Kind
Well, you could do you could do the Cleveland Club, and you could have the 2C logo.
Oh, somebody get out there and start squatting on those domains right now. You could probably make some pretty good money.
And you could bring back CC Sabathia for the first pitch, and I've just done their opening day promo. Okay.
There you go. But anybody buys the domain, I'm asking for a 10% binder fee. So,
You heard it here at 10 to
First
10 Eastern on the 2nd of November. Now,
go ahead. I'm trying to think of like other things that we can.
now I'm just thinking. I'm ready. Here's the question. I'm looking at the pond. I'm looking at you. You're in this scene. Who is going to be like? It's been a long time since. I mean, maybe it's just me being old, but we need this. We're due for a good song, like a real good song.
Like a summer anthem.
Yeah.
There hasn't been like a summer anthem in, since I feel like since I was a kid.
Yeah, like because I know there's been pop hits and some country songs, but something that everybody is just in on.
It sticks with you.
Yeah.
It becomes like a thing.
Yeah, like it's it. Like because I mean there was the Applebee's song, which is being more annoying now than a song. Like, I think that's part of the problem. Like, everything's kind of this TikTok trend and not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not a good song.
Right. Well, that's, I guess in that same regards, kind of I had a really long conversation about this. A friend of mine is a musician and artist, and I've been starting to fill in for him. And, that's, again, one of my many side projects, too. But, we were talking that the music industry is so different even now than what it was, when I was playing full time, 10, 12 years ago, or however long it was. I don't even know at this point. I'm too old too.
He doesn't have enough fingers, folks.
Because everything is, right. Because you can do everything so independently now. And you've got the equipment, the resources, and the distribution. Like the concept of a record deal is essentially non-existent now. Because you can produce. You look at say artists like the big one that's blowing up right now is Tom McDonald. I don't know, he's not everybody is into rap, but he's completely independent, doesn't sign or do anything with anybody, and he gets more streams than even mainstream artists do, which is insane.
Yeah, that model's definitely changed, that's going to be the next one. I was kind of talking about news and stuff before you probably hopped on about how that market's changing. But radio is going to be changing, too, in a big way.
Oh, absolutely. I think, again, you as an independent podcaster have kind of been, ahead of the curve. But I feel like, again, because now content and, equipment is so much more accessible and distribution is so much more vast nowadays that anybody can make anything. TV, that's going to be my prediction. The idea of TV and and our paranormal thing, the ghost shows that we became so familiar with on various networks is the way of the past. And you've got so many independent creators out there, like on YouTube, doing far better stuff. I think the ways of curated content, as in mass-produced curated content, isn't going to exist anymore.
How far? I think this might be this is another one for 2022. Somebody with some money kind of is going to be Mark Cuban 2.0 here, and take those independent contractors, especially the YouTube people, and put them on a platform like Netflix, but for people like that, and build it out there, because everybody's kind of disenfranchised with YouTube. It's going to be curated and more focused on good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a special product, and I can see it.
Almost like a YouTube 2.0 kind of.
Yeah, thing. People are gonna go there, and because I kind of joked with Germantown Runner about the Hollow Moon, right? You're gonna go there and you're gonna find good stuff. You're not gonna find some idiot that's got 5 views. You're gonna go there and find the best stuff.
And I think that there's probably certainly a niche for that. I know Netflix has tried things like that. I remember there was a content creator that I followed for a while on the food reviews and stuff, completely different thing. And his YouTube channel was hilarious, and he was very just, a very big personality. But then when his Netflix special came on, he was completely different, as if, very corporatized and just not the same. So it was very lackluster.
Yeah, I think, but if you because they hem them in, you're just, you're not sharing just revenue. You're kind of trying to put that in that Food Network box when it's YouTube content. I'm just saying.
That's exactly what it was. It was very interesting. It was very Food Network. I guess the only way you could describe it.
And maybe that was part of his, I don't want to say stick, trying to go from YouTube to Food Network. So he signed that production to show that he could do that, and that kind of gets muddy. I mean, there's a reason, multiple reasons, that I don't, go out and try to host Coast to Coast AM, right? That isn't me.
That's 2023 for you, so.
Right? That isn't what I do. That's not how I run my show. That's not how I like to talk, right? So you realize where you're at and you know your limits.
Exactly.
And
anyway, there's still 5 minutes left. I don't want to take any more, so leave it open for one more. But Jim, I just wanted to call in and say it's been far too long.
It has been.
Love everybody, and
good to hear your voice. And I'm glad you're alive. I was worried about you.
Yeah, it's like I said, we were talking offline. It's been a chaotic few weeks. So
I'm glad to hear. Like I said, I was worried about you. The rest of the stuff we'll get it when we get it. So
right. Anyway, we'll open it up for more people. And
okay, yeah, he's right. We've got.
I want to be hopeful for next year, but
he's being honest.
I'll be honest.
Talk to you soon. So Chris is right. We've got just about 3 minutes left. No, 2 minutes left because I got the minute of outro stuff. So now's your moment. If you want in on this show, now's your moment. To be part of the definitive predictions for 2022, now's your moment. You can wait and call into some other show New Year's Eve, or you could be bold and you could be first, and you could say it here. Right? It's easy to predict stuff for 2022 when it's 12 minutes away. Now's the time. Bring it. Man, I'm fired up now. Talked to two of my favorite people tonight so far. Got some great predictions from Brian Bowden that I kind of alluded to earlier. Got a good question from Everett about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I seriously have no idea. But I think that's kind of becoming one of the bigger debacles. And I don't know where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame goes in 20 years, because I don't know what's rock and roll today. Back to the song in the summer bit. I just don't know what rock and roll is today. I just don't. So, man, I'm excited. And here's some breaking news. So I've got a minute left, and apparently you're going to leave me to my own devices, so I'm going to break some news here for you. Next week, when you come onto the Duck Pond, the website will be different. I know it's been this way for a while now, and everybody who knows me knows I have to change things, and of course this is part of that drip announcement thing that I've been talking about. The website will be different. That's part of the game. I'm looking forward to making those changes. I'm looking forward to making the other changes. I'm looking forward to the big change. Of course, the big change isn't a change for you that are listening live, or those of you who are listening via podcast. It's all changes for me on the back end. It's all exciting. Those of you listening live on the Duck Pond, know this before this show ends. This show is always going to be live Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. For those of you who are subscribed on a podcast app, know it's going to be there for you. Some of the stuff, the mechanics behind the scenes are going to change. Some of the stuff on the website is going to change. But that's just a little tweaks. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mount Report. Stay tuned for details on saving money at the Duck Pond Shop. I hope you enjoyed this report. Please check out Mallard.com. A reminder, the views and opinions of this show are those of the host and guest and do not represent any sponsors, affiliates, or any other partners of the Mallard Report. Now for your money-saving tip. Promo code Mallard at checkout of duckpondshop.com. where you can get your t-shirt, coffee mug, and other great products. That's promo code Mallard at checkout, duckpondshop.com. Until next week, stay safe and keep quacking.